Hello, everyone. Today we're going to discuss flowcharting. Have you ever wondered how computer programs, systems, or even simple processes work? Flowcharting helps us visualize these processes in a simple and easy to understand way. But what exactly is a flowchart? A flowchart is a graphical representation of an algorithm. It is a diagram that represents a process or a system. It uses different symbols connected by arrows to show the flow of steps. Flowcharts are like maps that help us understand how things work step by step. There are two types of flowchart. We have system flowcharts and program flowcharts. Let's start with system flowchart. These flowcharts shows how the flow of data within an entire system. They focus on how different components of a system interact with each other. For example, in a school, a system flowchart might show how students' information is entered into the database, processed, and used for generating reports. Think of it like how school tracks attendance. First, you check in at the entrance. Then, your attendance is recorded and processed in the school's system. And finally, the school generates the student's attendance record. Now let's talk about program flowcharts. These flowcharts focus specifically on the steps a program follows to solve a problem or complete a task. It shows the sequence of operations that a computer program performs to achieve a result, like calculating your grades or sorting a list of numbers. Imagine you are sorting a list of your favorite books in alphabetical order. A program flowchart would show each step of that sorting process, from checking if the list is empty to comparing two books and swapping them if needed. Now that we understand the difference between these two types of flowcharts, let's dive deeper into the symbols used in program flowcharts. In program flowcharts, we use different symbols to represent various actions or decisions. Let's take a closer look at these symbols. The first symbol is the terminal symbol that is represented by an oval. This symbol represents the start and end of a process. It tells us where the process begins and ends. For example, in a program, the start might be when the user opens the application, and the end could be when the program finishes running. Now, let's relate this to a real life example. When you start your day at school, you begin by getting ready, and your day ends when you heading home. The start and end of your school day are clear points, just like how a flowchart shows the start and end of a process. The next symbol that we are going to discuss is the preparation symbol that is represented by a hexagon. The preparation symbol is used when a program needs to set up something before it can continue. For example, initializing variables or setting up values before a loop starts. In real life, think about preparing your school bag before leaving home. You check if you have all your books, notebooks, and pens before heading to school. Just like that, in a flowchart, a preparation step ensures that everything is set before the actual process begins. We also have the input output symbol that is represented by a parallelogram. The input output symbol is used to show where the program takes input from the user or gives output to the user. For instance, when you type your name in a program, it's input. If the program shows a message on the screen, that's output. In real life, think about filling out a form. When you type your name, that's input. When the form prints out your name at the end, that's output. The input output symbol in a flowchart represents that flow of information. Next is the process symbol, which is represented by a rectangle. This rectangle represents a process or shows a process. This represents a task or action that is being carried out. For example, if the program needs to add two numbers together, that action would be inside a rectangle. Let us think about it in real life. When you're doing your homework, you may need to solve mathematical problems. Each math step you do is a process, just like in a flowchart, solving for the answer goes inside the rectangle. We also have the decision symbol, which is represented by the symbol diamond. This symbol is used when the program needs to make a choice, like asking whether a number is greater than 10 or less than 10. Based on the answer, the program will follow different paths. Relating this to real life, imagine deciding whether to go to a party. If your homework is finished, you then go to the party. If it's not, you stay home and finish your homework. This decision symbol shows the decision-making point, just like in a flowchart. We also have the on-page connector. The on-page connector is a small circle used when a flowchart is too long to fit neatly on one page. It helps connect different parts of the flowchart on the same page, so we don't have messy overlapping flow lines. In real life, think of it as like following a board game where the path is too long for one section. The game tells you to jump to space 10 somewhere else on the board. On-page connector do the same thing in flowcharts. Next is the off-page connector. The off-page connector is like, or the function of the off-page connector is similar to that of the on-page connector. It is represented by a pentagon shaped and is used to connect one part of a flowchart to another on another page. It helps keep flowchart clean and organized. In real life, think about reading a long book. When you reach the end of a page, there's a note saying, continue on page 52. This symbol works the same way. It tells us where to jump in the flowchart when it moves to another page. Then we have the predefined process symbol. The predefined process symbol, also known as a subprocess, represents a set of steps that are grouped together and used multiple times. Instead of drawing the same steps repeatedly, we use this symbol to refer to them. In real life, imagine a teacher who gives the same set of instruction for different activities. Instead of repeating everything they say, follow the usual steps. The predefined process symbol does the same. It points to a set of steps we already defined elsewhere. And the last symbol that we are going to discuss is the flow lines with the arrowheads. Flow lines and arrowheads shows the flow or direction of the process. These connect the symbols, telling us the order in which the steps are carried out. They help us see the path that the program takes from start to finish. In real life, flow lines represents the steps you follow to reach your goal. For example, when you're following a recipe, you move from one step to another, just like the flow lines guiding you through a flow chart. To wrap things up, flow charting is an essential skill for understanding how systems and programs work. Whether they're creating a simple process or designing a complex program, flowcharts help organize ideas clearly and visually. Thank you for listening.